Hey guys, what's happening? Today I wanted to share with you guys my picks for the top most hyped kendamas that were released in 2016. Now, a few caveats, a few disclaimers before we get started. Technically, these are the top 5 most hyped kendamas that were released in the second half of 2016 because that's when I started kendama. I started in mid-June, July. So anything that was released prior to that, I obviously wasn't following kendama at that time. So these are my personal opinions on the most hyped kendamas. I think 2016 was a pretty big year for kendama, mostly because I started playing kendama in 2016. No, not really, that's a joke. But really, I think a lot of new products were released that were pretty exciting, and they all kind of happened all at once. So again, these are just my opinions. You will probably disagree with some of them. You'll probably have a differing opinion. Please let me know. I'm curious to know what you disagree with and why. So tell me in the comments below. Let me know which kendamas which of my choices you agreed with and which you didn't. So first off, I want to do some honorable mentions. These are kendamas that aren't in my top 5 most hyped. Most hyped doesn't mean the best. It just means had the most buzz surrounding it, the most stuff going on. So my honorable mentions are, first off, the Grain Theory Stod mod. I believe that was actually released this year in 2016, but at the very beginning of the year. So most of the hype surrounding it was, I believe, at the end of 2015. The Stod mod is an incredible kendama. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but I just kind of disqualified it from this list. Second couple of honorable mentions go to the Wyatt Bray mod and the TJ Kolesnik mod from Kendama USA. Both really cool, a lot of hype surrounding them, but I think they got eclipsed by what Kendama USA did later in the year. I also want to give an honorable mention to the Soul Pioneers kendamas that were just released at the very end of this year. They seem pretty awesome, and there's some awesome hype surrounding those things, but again, they don't quite make it to this top 5 list. And then I also want to mention the Terra LBB Pro mods. I think just because they're incredible, and I think that they should have been more hyped than they were, but they're again in a different kind of class of kendama in my opinion, so they don't really fit with this list. So here's my list. These aren't in any particular order. I'm just gonna go down through them. I am doing this video a little bit off the cuff, so I'll probably not have all my facts straight. So again, please correct me in the comments, and I'm probably gonna miss some stuff, so just bear with me. First one I wanna talk about is the RWB Classic. RWB is doing some really cool stuff. They make some amazing kendamas. The original RWB model is very unique. It's a very cool, interesting kendama, but they released, and it was right around all kinds of other stuff happening, the RWB Classic, which, like its name says, is more of a classic shape, classic style, extremely well balanced. And when that was kind of getting out there was just a lot of hype surrounding it. A lot of players love RWB, and I'm going to be going into more detail with RWB stuff in an upcoming video, so you can look forward to that. But RWB Classic, definitely one of the most hyped kendamas of the year, and I think kind of got a little overshadowed throughout the rest of the year, but should not be, because they're pretty incredible. Second one is the Chrome Sleigh Dog. Of course, the Chrome Sleigh Dog, tons of hype, tons of cool stuff. It was around at KWC, but wasn't really released or available to most folks until much later. They have their regular plus sizing with the increased playability of the cup sizing and some of the cool laser engravings. And the Chrome Sleigh Dog, definitely one of the most hyped kendamas. And then they released their Pro mods just recently, which are Sleigh Dogs, but they are the Pro models, and those are incredible as well. So Sleigh Dog definitely lives up to the hype. I think it's a great kendama, very playable. The paint, the shape, everything about it is really cool, but it's gotten a ton of attention, and I think it's well deserved. Kendama USA Craft and Kaizen 2.0 line. So Kendama USA released all kinds of stuff, seemed like all at once. So they released their Craft, which is American made, 2 models, Slim and 2.0, very unique shapes, from what I've read and what I've heard, the design and the creation of these models very unique, and how much all the players on the team had a hand in it, had feedback, created this really cool 2 new shapes. One building on the previous Kaizen shape and refining it and making it awesome. The other one being very unique and taking cues from, not necessarily from, a lot of previous Kendama USA stuff, that being the Slim. And then in addition to the Craft 2.0 and the Slim, they released the Craft 2.0 Plus, which is a 5% bigger kendama, which is amazing. And they released their Kaizen 2.0, which is the same shape as the Craft 2.0, but you know, in different woods, a little more affordable, not made in America, but still awesome. So definitely huge hype around Kendama USA as normal. Again, well-deserved hype there. The next most hyped Kendamas, I think, were the Sweets Pro Mods. The Sweets Pro Mods, I think, were a long time coming. I know they were in the process of designing those, creating them, getting them all put together for a long time. And again, they live up to the hype. They're really great Kendamas. The paint that they use on them is incredible. The colorway, there's a unity among the Kendamas in their overall design and style, and yet they're very unique with the colors and the seals and the player cards and all that stuff. So very hyped Kendamas, definitely worth it, really cool. The last kendama I want to mention that's received a ton of hype is Pacific Northwest P&W Kotodama. Those are just now being released. People have their hands on them now, and they seem very unique. Again, made in the US, doing a lot of really cool stuff. Very, you know, the team that's putting them together seems to have taken a lot of time and effort to make something special and unique, and they look really cool. You know, you have this very unique birch tama with the paddock stripes and the hickory Ken, and that is their first kendama. I'm curious to see what they do in the future. I'm curious to hear the feedback from those because they're just brand new and there's not a lot of info on them out there. So that wraps it up. Those are my top 5 most hyped kendamas of 2016. Again, kind of the second half of 2016. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with. Was there anything I missed or overlooked? I'm curious to know you guys' opinions. I know there's been a ton of amazing stuff released all throughout the year by all kinds of companies, small and big, but specifically these 5 were the ones that I felt like received the most hype from the community, and for the most part, as far as I know, all lived up to it pretty well. So cool, fun year for kendama. I'll probably have some upcoming videos on my plans for the next year for the channel and for my kendama playing, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a like if you like the video, and I will see you guys later. Bye.